from Beam Media in Dallas, Texas. This is Jack Everett. Welcome to part 3 of my full commentary of the game Blade Runner. And so we're just going to start by finishing up Act 1 by sleeping in the bed, and this will start Act 2.
Portrait of the sleep-deprived.
We're going to watch a cutscene here, and it'll introduce Sadiq.
Got your delivery here, man.
What?
Kingston Kitchen.
Oh, yes, right. Hold on.
Is this what the gravity be like on Mars?
Oh, no. It's about a third of what we got here on Terra. Real comfy. How about turning that dial, okay? When I say... Oh!
Please, can you control your rat?
I'll have you know that Ricky's a purebred chihuahua, and he's totally real.
Things going good at Tyrell Corporation?
Boring, boring. Old man Tyrell's been on a Wagner kick lately. He never shuts up.
You also do outside work?
Sweetie, I never go outside. It's bad for the glands.
How about Nexus 6? You know a lot about them?
I think you should be going now.
Understand good, it holds deep meaning for me now. Where be your research on Nexus 6? And your test studies, contacts, the works?
Only simulator! Extraterrestrial gravity!
One more minute, you be swallowing this explosive. 3 more minutes, they be hosing you off the True Life building across town.
No, I swear. I don't have anything. If I did, I'd give it to you.
My people sick and dying. You tell me something.
Talk to Dr. Tyrell.
Tell me something I don't know.
The organ designers, Miraji, Hannibal Chu, Luther and Lance. They're closer to him than I am.
Where?
DNA Row. They're all working down on DNA Row. No.
You one miserable package man.
No! No, please, don't!
Pick up.
Hope you aren't camped out there with a bottle of tequila.
Oh, very funny.
Early bird slays the worm, McCoy.
Don't worry, I'm up, Lieutenant. What's the buzz?
One of Tyrell's employees got his fat face splattered all over the marble interior of the Tyrell building.
Inside?
That's right, but we also got a sweet little break on it. Tyrell's surveillance system recorded the whole shebang.
Beautiful. How many perps?
Just one. I don't know if it's related to the Runciter deal or not. Tyrell security will have the disc for you when you get there. You'll be good, killer.
Alright, so McCoy's just picked up another case, the case that we just saw happen in that video at the start of the act. One thing I want to point out is it's kind of weird how Guza says, I don't know if it's related to the Runciter deal or not. There would be no reason to think that a break-in at Tyrell would be related to the animal murder case, I mean realistically speaking. So, one thing I wanted to say is if you see me miss anything in this game that you know about, be sure to post it in the comments so I can address it in the future episode. Like, even if it's like 20 years from the day I made this, just post it. I've been playing this game for 20 years already, and I've been interested in it the whole time. So
Here you go, baby. Dinner time.
I don't care when you see this video. If you see me miss something, or if there's something that I just don't know about,
Floor number, please.
let me know, because I want to know everything about this game. That's the truth about it. So actually, I'll just bring up McCoy's Kaya real quick. So we have the animal murder case here, and now we have the Eisendullar murder case here. And our only clue right now is the phone call that we got from Guza, but we'll be picking up some more. And then, of course, we have the factory bombing case that Crystal was investigating that we saw in the mainframe of the police station in the last episode. So we're going to go ahead and head over to the Tyrell Corporation, and we'll get some cinematics that are very similar to the movie here. So let us watch and enjoy. here we get a spinner approaching the Tyrell pyramid. So it's just like the movie. Doesn't look quite as good as the movie since it's 640 by 480, but...
McCoy, LPD.
Just a minute.
Where do I go?
Grav test on the east wing, 66th floor. Here's the footage from the security cameras. You get a pretty good look at the man's face.
How'd he get past you guys?
He pretended to be a delivery man. Dr. Eisendullar ordered in a lot, so it didn't seem unusual.
I may have more questions for you later on.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so I don't think this guy will have anything more to say.
One more thing.
Oh, I guess
I've
he
told
does.
you everything I
Yeah.
know, Detective. I gotta work. These monitors don't watch themselves.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
this guy
it's a
doesn't
tough
have
gig.
anything more to say right now. So we just go straight up to the crime scene. Alright, so there's a few things in this scene. Number one, there is this piece of jewelry right down here.
The earring was shaped like an insect. I didn't know much about jewelry, but it looked like junk to me. Like the cheap crap sold at the stands and shops of Animoid Row.
And that is the same piece of jewelry we saw on Lucy when we did the Esper machine on her. So you can find this clue either here or on the Lucy photo. It doesn't matter. Also, there's going to be a pamphlet here. Now, this pamphlet will give us an indication as to who might be a replicant. So let's see what it has to say.
It was a Tyrell sales brochure for the Nexus series, the kind of glossy hype that ends up littering the floor at trade shows. This one was for the new entertainment model, a comedian designed to entertain the troops off-world.
So there's two possible pamphlets that McCoy can get there. He'll either get the entertainment model pamphlet or he'll get the Lolita model pamphlet. If it's the entertainment model pamphlet, it means that Gordo's a replicant. If it's the Lolita model pamphlet, it means that Dectora or Lucy is a replicant. I can't remember which one, but it's one of the other two. Now, if both Gordo and Dectora are human, there's not going to be any pamphlet. But it also seems to favor Gordo. So if both Gordo and Dectora are replicants, you'll see the Gordo pamphlet. There's also a computer here that we can interact with. And I'll just interact with it now.
Someone had tried to access a bunch of protected files on the Tyrell network and failed, not just once, but a dozen times. Tyrell engineers might forget their passwords, but what would the GravLab boys need with replicant DNA sequences and incept dates?
So McCoy will say that if we try to interact with the computer again, McCoy will get locked out of the computer. Instead, McCoy needs to find the password, which we'll find at the crime scene.
Jesus.
I seen worse, but not by much.
Learn anything?
You could strain him through a sieve.
Alright, so there's some evidence to pick up here. There's a dog collar right here.
The dog collar has a name on it. Ricky, maybe?
And actually that name Ricky is the password to get into that computer. There's also a box
A
here.
takeout box from Kingston Kitchens.
And so it's just a takeout box from a restaurant. And then there's these dead dogs.
I'd seen more dead animals than live ones in the last 24 hours, and now it was dogs. 3 of them. I thought about Maggie and nearly threw up.
Yeah, I like that line. I thought about Maggie and nearly threw up. It's pretty good. McCoy really cares about his dog. Alright, and then we can examine the body here.
Obviously, he'd been killed with an explosive, and not just because he'd been plastered on the wall with 1,000 strokes. The detonator wire I pulled out of his skull told the whole story, but I wondered why the killer didn't just shoot him.
Alright, so actually if we go into McCoy's database and we'll go to the Eisendullar murder case, the detonator wire.
The detonator wire I pulled out of his skull told the whole story, but I wondered why the killer didn't just shoot him.
Now, I can't remember right, but I think it's possible that that this clue will help you to know whether or not Sadiq is a replicant. But let's go to the suspects tab and then just click on the replicant information for Sadiq, which we don't know his name yet. So for replicant we have the detonator wire, and for non-replicant we have nothing. So it might be that Sadiq is a replicant. There will be clues later on involving bombing that will help us to know whether or not Sadiq is a replicant.
This earring yours?
Maybe it belongs to that
Oh,
other
and we can
cop
talk
who
to
was
this
up here,
photographer.
the babe with the shades and the cigarettes.
Ain't her style. Call her babe to her face. You're liable to end up with a severe limp.
Alright, I think that's all here, but
Disgusting.
yeah, there's no more evidence there. And I don't think we can ask this
If
guy
you
about
spot anything you think I ought to know about, tell me.
Absolutely.
Alright, so that's all that's in here. But like I said, if I miss anything, be sure to let me know. I'll address everything in a future episode. And now we have the password of Ricky Eisendullar's dog's name, so we can...
Eisendullar had used his dog's name as a password. The Tyrell brass wouldn't be too happy if they knew I was snagging a copy of their files, but someone had wanted them bad enough to kill Eisendullar, so I figured they must be worth having.
Alright, so McCoy just collected something called DNA information. So if we go to all of our clues, we'll see we got the DNA for Marcus, and maybe it's not obvious right now, but it's forming a double helix, and it'll make more sense as we collect more DNA information throughout the game. And yet there are 4 total DNA informations in the game, and if you have them all, it'll affect some of the endings slightly, and I'll explain that when we get there. Alright, so that's it for here, but I'm going to save the game real quick just because we're going to have an interaction with Crystal when we get down to the bottom.
Lagging behind again?
Guza didn't say anything about me working with a partner.
Oh, in a pig's ass, Slim. No, I'm following up on my own. Could be it's linked to this Tyrell debacle.
Yeah, so Crystal is investigating the factory bombing, and this is also a bombing, so obviously she's interested in this. Now, if you've never interviewed Gregorian, which we did in part 2 of this series, you'll only ever get the option to talk about murder, and Crystal doesn't have anything really interesting to say about it. So, but you can ask her about her case, since we interviewed Gregorian already, and she'll have more interesting stuff to say about it.
How's yours connected to mine?
I'm still putting the pieces together. It's all stored in Esper's mainframe. You hear about the Moonbus massacre?
Gaff mentioned it.
Could be our cases are overlapping. I might keep you posted.
Do that.
Alright, so Crystal doesn't tell us much, but she does mention the Moonbus massacre, which we just had hinted at, and that'll come into a lot of play later. Now we can interview this guy, and he'll have more to say.
You friendly with Eisendullar?
Most of the employees I see coming in morning and night, but old Marcus, Dr. Eisendullar, he almost never left his lab.
He afraid of somebody?
I think it had something to do with the air outside, and the germs. I once heard him complain about it.
Smart. What was his job?
Grav Test Chief Engineer. The lab runs tests to see how a replicant would perform in different planetary gravitational fields. That kind of thing. One of the other engineers could tell you more.
Alright, so that's totally interesting background information. And then we can ask about the earring.
You know if anyone lost an earring like this one lately?
Not one of the employees, that's for sure. The boss enforces a strict dress code around here.
How did Eisendullar's moo-moo fit in?
Hey, you know, company rules only apply to the lesser mortals.
And so one of the truths about interviewing a lot of people is it just adds to the story. It doesn't actually affect the game in any way, but sometimes what McCoy listens to is important. So we'll ask about Tyrell.
How do I get in to see the big boss?
You don't, unless he wants to see you.
Okay. How do I make him want to see me?
Well, you could call his personal assistant.
Who is?
Don't know offhand.
And so asking
Yeah,
the
I
security
get the
guard
picture.
about Tyrell here is what will unlock Rachel's cameo.
You know anything about Tyrell's computer system?
Security is tight as a drum, if that's what you're asking.
Somebody tried to access restricted data from the terminal in Dr. Eisendullar's office.
But they couldn't get in.
Yeah. Looks like Dr. Tyrell keeps his files safer than he keeps his employees.
Yeah, that whole conversation was garbage because McCoy just broke in with the dog's name as the password.
I may have more questions for you later on.
Alright, so that's
Yes,
all
sir.
that we have here for the Eisendullar murder scene. We're going to go back to the police station, and I'm going to show you a couple things there, and we're also going to get the appointment with Dr. Tyrell so that we can see Rachel's. But you'll see that right here we have Anemoid Row unlocked, and that's where the rest of this investigation will take place, or at least part of it. So the first thing that we're going to do is go to the mainframe. Actually, I want to show you something real quick. So, like I was saying before, Dino is just going to be gone. So the lab is empty and we will never see Dino again. Okay. So, getting back to the mainframe. Alright, so in the mainframe here, I wanted to show you this first. You'll remember that I had beaten Crystal Steele's score in the shooting range. But now if we look at this, you'll see that Steele now has a score of 68. And so she's beaten McCoy's score of 65. And then Deckard is still there at the bottom. Alright, so we don't need to interact with this, but we are going to use the Esper machine to look at the photographs from Eisendullar's murder.
One enhanceable image found.
Yeah,
Adding
and it's
enhanceable
absolutely
photographs
amazing
to
that
Kaya database.
with the camera recording for the entire time that Sadiq was there,
Tyrell
it got
lab
one
test lab.
photograph. I mean, obviously, it's just to make it easier for us. So we'll zoom in. We can get Sadiq's face. And he'll also be wearing the dragonfly earring.
The earring was shaped like an insect. I didn't know much about jewelry, but it looked like junk to me. Like the cheap crap sold at the stands and shops of Animal
So actually,
Row. Give
we
me a hard
found
copy of that.
2 pieces of dragonfly jewelry at this point. We found the earring, and then Lucy also had the bracelet on her ankle. And then we can zoom in back here, and Sadiq will be holding a bomb.
A bomb. Give me a hard copy of that.
Yeah, a bomb, just like in Deus Ex when J.C. Denton found a bomb. And then we can zoom in on this food cart container right here.
A takeout box from Kingston Kitchens. Give me a hard copy of that.
And it hardly matters, really, because we also found that takeout box at the crime scene itself. And we can zoom in on the dog here. And this is going to give us another piece of evidence we already have. It'll just be the dog's collar again, which has the name Ricky on it.
The dog collar has a name on it. Ricky, maybe? Give me
So
a
there's
hard copy of
basically
that.
just multiple ways to get all of the evidence in the game. And I believe that is it for this image. But like I said, if you know of anything that I missed, let me know so that we can cover it in a future episode. So that's all the evidence there. And I guess I will check into the mainframe real quick. So I'm going to go...
Someone had tried to access a bunch of protected... The earring was shaped like an insect. I didn't know much about jewelry, but it looked like junk to me.
I'm just going to go through and clear all the evidence.
The dog collar, it's some kind of insect. The earring was shaped like an insect.
I checked with UN Air. Looks your rep swung that moonbus massacre last month.
They ever find the moon bus?
Disappeared into thin air. Brian thinks it crashed out in the Kipple.
I actually want to talk about that line because Gaff says, I checked with UN Air, and I had no idea what he was saying for years. It sounded like I checked with YOU, in air. And I was like, what is Gaff talking about? But then I read someone's transcript of the game, so I don't actually know if this is correct, but it's actually UN Space Air, AIR, so it's like United Nations Air, which I guess is in this world some kind of information database that all the crime units share with each other or something like that. But it's weird how they just throw in weird concepts in this game. It's pretty nice because like it adds to the flavor of the world without being in your face. Alright, and then
How long? Kingston.
Kitchen, license plate, Lucy, military
Muddy
boots,
boots. Guess he's from out of...
license plate
One of
number.
Tyrell's employed.
Alright, yeah, I'm just going through all the information to clear it.
How? It was a...
Most of the
You know this girl or not?
So we got all that, all the
I
clues
know.
cleared. Let's see if there's anything new in the
Uploading
criminal
personal
database.
clue database.
This will show me if I missed anything too, I think.
Downloading mainframe clue database. Clue database transfer complete.
So I don't think there should be any new clues, but we will see. Yeah, see, so no new clues came in through that, so we found everything so far. Alright, and then Jack here might actually have some more interesting stuff to say. Yeah, you'll see there's a weapon, there's a box right here, and it's a weapons shipment.
We get a new weapons shipment?
Yeah, Guzza requisitioned a couple of cases for the assault teams.
Let me guess. He's planning on taking out a small city.
Lieutenant's a big believer in overkill.
Kind of
I've
funny.
gotten all I can from that.
Yeah, so I don't think we have anything more to say here.
That weapon shipment just came in.
Oh,
You
I
get the
guess we
paperwork
can.
handy?
Why? You got a pressing need to rummage through my private files?
Yeah, I forgot you were keeping your lacy underthings in there. Look, Jack, I just want to see what they're charging for a crate of rifles these days.
Too damn much if you ask me, especially at the rate the assault teams are losing them. I guess there ain't no harm in it.
Alright, so McCoy just picked up the weapons requisition. I don't think
You
they're...
keeping busy,
yeah,
pal?
he doesn't have anything
Nah,
more to
the
say.
place has been pretty quiet the last couple of days.
Alright, so I think we might have a new case in our database right now. So we got Eisendullar murder. Yeah, arms dealing. So there's an arms dealing case right now, which is another thing that was briefly mentioned in the Gregorian interview. And then we have factory bombing, moonbus hijacking, and animal murder. So picking up that weapon shipment just helps with the arms dealing case, which is another case that'll come up. So now we can go see Guza, and if Guza is there, we'll be able to get an appointment with Tyrell. But Guza is randomly there or not, but hopefully he's there so we can just get the appointment with Tyrell. Yeah, he's not there, so we'll just leave and maybe go down to the first floor, and you'll notice there's something we can click on over here, but it doesn't do anything. It's just really weird. This whole police station is really weird. I mean, it looks like a train station, and in fact, I think that's what it was. It was filmed in a train station in the movie. So we already interviewed Gregorian, but
You keeping busy, pal?
I'm basically
Please
just
leave me
killing
alone.
time, hoping
My
that
migraine's acting
Guza
up.
comes back so we can get the interview with Tyrell. You can actually...
Ground floor.
We're in the second act now, and you can actually get the interview in the third act as well, but I wanted to do it now for... Oh, there's
Hey,
a cop
pal.
here. We can talk to him. He doesn't say anything. Yeah, still no Guza. Alright, I'm gonna just... Actually, we can go outside right now. This is an area that gets unlocked in the second act. But we can go outside, and we'll just be outside the police station, and then we can walk over here, and then this is going to be McCoy's apartment, and so we can go directly to McCoy's apartment
Your floor number, please.
from the police station.
McCoy, 88F.
88. Thank you.
And we'll take a look at the TV screen real quick to see if there's any new news reports on it. And there's McCoy's dog that he loves so much again. Alright.
During his last election campaign, Governor Kolvig promised a bold new plan of action to clean up the worst regions of the highly toxic debris that surrounds our city, the so-called kipple. Just how much progress has been made since then? We spoke to the governor just before his weekly meeting with the city council.
Our studies have shown that the kipple's effect upon Los Angeles is minor. The radiation and toxic waste is contained in relatively small pockets, all miles distant from the city center. Nevertheless, cleaning things up out there is a worthwhile goal, especially with the thousands of specials living on the city fringes. For now, all I can say is that we're looking at several options, and I'm sure everyone will be pleasantly surprised by our final proposal.
That's just some sort of background story that sort of plays into things that show up. It's not important to the case, but it's interesting that the governor is just trying to clean up this thing called the kipple. And the kipple is something that's pretty prominent in the book. It's all the junk around the city. It's where all those fires were randomly exploding around the city, stuff like that. But the term kipple's never actually used in the movie, but it does come from the book. Alright, so let's see if Guza is there now. If not, I might just end this episode and... Okay, so Guza's there now. So I'll just give the game a quick save and then we'll be able to do some stuff here. Oh,
Hey,
wait. Whoops.
Get lost. We both got work to do.
Alright.
Hey.
That was weird. Alright, so you'll notice I only had 80 Chinyan when we ended the last episode, but now I have 200, so McCoy seems to have gotten paid. Alright, so now we can request a
The
Tyrell
goons over
meeting.
at the Tyrell building wouldn't let me talk to their boss. Maybe you can set up a meeting.
Anyone else in that whole company who knows anything?
You and I both know it's a one-man show over there.
I'll give it a try, kid. I'll have to pull some strings, so don't go in there half-assed. Make sure you got some legit questions for the resident genius.
Appreciate it, Lieutenant.
Yeah, so Guzzo warns McCoy to only go in there if you have legitimate questions. But as far as I can tell, it doesn't matter how much evidence you've collected. The interaction will be the same no matter what. And then McCoy can ask for money for some random reason, even though you almost never need money
Can the
in this
department
game.
float me some chin yen? This investigation's getting expensive.
Look, this ain't on the department tab, okay? This is a personal loan.
Thanks, Lieutenant.
This goddamn city don't know how to manage funds. They've been flush for years.
I thought we were under budget.
Trust me, ain't nobody getting rich unless they're sneaking some on the side. Hell, I can barely pay for the fuel for my car.
Ever hear of public transportation?
Get out of here before I throw my desk at you.
That's kind of a funny line. But also that whole conversation is foreshadowing. So now we have 380 Chinian, so we got plenty for the rest of the game, but we'll probably get even more. And then here's what happens if McCoy talks to Guzzo and he has nothing to say. I think we heard this in the last episode.
Bryant on permanent vacation or what, Lieutenant?
He sends his regards from the hemorrhoid hospital. What's the good news?
Alright, so now...
Fresh out, but I'm following up some leads.
Don't push it, kid. You look like you're beat anyway. Why don't you rest them dogs the rest of the day?
I still got plenty of energy.
That's an order, McCoy. I'm ordering you to relax.
Yeah, that's just kind of a weird conversation.
Sorry to bother you, Lieutenant. I was just checking in.
Well, get back out there. Those reps ain't retiring themselves.
Yeah, suicidal targets would make my job a lot easier.
Yeah, you can make them
Everybody's
say
got a
million
job,
times, so there's no point in that. Alright, so now we can go visit Tyrell, and that's the rest of what we're going to do this episode, and then we'll go to Anna Moidro in the next episode. So we are just going to go straight back to Tyrell, and we'll get some really good footage from the movie. And we'll see Rachel in her singular appearance in this game. You'll recognize this location from the film. Then we get Rachel in full 3D. And she walks in
Beautiful,
just like in the movie.
isn't it?
The owl or the view?
Both.
The view's amazing. The owl, well, artificial things never did that much for me.
It's a flawless replica. We used a real one as a model.
Owls are extinct. Who told you the model was real?
Dr. Tyrell?
He's wrong, or lying. Check your Sydneys.
And there's a reference
Eldon
to the
wouldn't make up
Sydney's
something
catalog
like
from
that.
the book.
You're Tyrell's assistant?
Yes, I'm Rachel. Dr. Tyrell is very busy. I'm fully familiar with all Tyrell operations.
He does know I'm a cop, right? Blade Runner unit?
Dr. Tyrell has already met with one Blade Runner today and has important business to attend to.
That's a reference to Deckard.
Your department should coordinate its efforts better.
Yeah, but...
You may speak to me or you may leave. I can't offer you any other choices.
Fair enough. I wanted to ask about Marcus Eisendullar.
I can't tell you who killed him if that's what you're asking.
We've already got a suspect. What I want to know is why the killer would be interested in replicant DNA information.
That's a stupid question.
Oh yeah? Why's that?
Your suspect is obviously a replicant, a very dangerous one.
That's not necessarily true. Sadiq
I thought replicants were safe, more human than human. Isn't Dr. Tyrell pushing to make it legal to use rep labor to clean up the kipple?
Are we here to discuss corporate policy or Marcus Eisendullar's murder?
A little of both. You heard about the moon bus hijacking? Yeah, I guess you would have. 50 people dead.
Keep that number in mind. 50
You can't
people
blame.
dead.
I'm surprised you aren't out doing spin control. The public gets nervous when your pets wander around the city without a leash.
Replicants aren't pets.
Right. Pets live longer and don't go around killing people.
Fair point.
There are safeguards in the design.
Yeah, I've seen the data. Implanted memories, a 4-year lifespan.
McCoy wouldn't know about
I'd probably
the
get a little
implanted
crazy too, but I
memories.
don't think I'd start killing people.
Deckard had just
Wouldn't
learned
you?
about them himself.
As I explained to Mr. Deckard earlier, I've given the Nexus 6 model a past. I've given it the purity and innocence of childhood. And all the joy and despair that comes with a real existence. That's hardly a death sentence. That's life.
I thought you weren't meeting with any more Blade Runners today.
Well, I decided to make an exception. Mr. McCoy, isn't it? You do understand the need for the Nexus 6 to have an identity.
Not really. No. I do see why a replicant who has an identity would want to steal Eisendullar's files.
Please, enlighten me.
They want more life.
They're wasting their time.
They're gonna come for you, just like they came for Eisendullar.
I have nothing to fear from any of my children. I'd tell them all exactly what I told you. Have I given you what you came here for?
I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe.
Then if you'll excuse me, I have a stockholder meeting to attend.
Yeah, Tyrell is a very business-oriented man. Probably some kind of sociopath, though. And so now we're in Tyrell's pyramid, and we can walk around a little bit, but there's nothing here at this time. And we will never see Rachel again. That is her cameo appearance for the game, but we will see Tyrell again. Alright, so I'm going to close out this episode, and I will save the game here, and we'll pick up next time. We'll go investigate Animoid Row. This has been Jack Everett, and I will talk at you later. Thanks for watching.